The news of yesterday, literally yesterday, sounded like I was telling like a story from colonial times. The news of yesterday, no, like literally news that broke yesterday, was the Panthers had released Jadeveon Clowney. Now, obviously, that points a different spotlight on different players, right? The two rookies, Skorton and Umamielen, from the second and third round, edge rushers. They're going to be asked to do more. And by the way, Dave Canales said as much today talking to the media at OTAs. He was like, yeah, it's about getting those guys a lot of reps. It's about opening up some space for some of the younger guys to get work. And it was also about cap. He mentioned that also, salary cap. There's a weird job security lesson in that. There was I won't say names or industries because I don't know if he wants his business out there. But there was one of my friends was in an industry where his company was going through layoffs, and he was real nervous, rightfully so, right? And he went to his like trusted manager, not even like his direct report, just somebody in upper management who he had a good relationship with, and he was like, "Can I just ask you a real question? Like, do I have to be worried? You know, this hasn't been my best quarter or whatever it was." Guy looked at him and said, "You have nothing to worry about." He was like, "Really? Like everyone's that pleased with how I'm working?" He goes, No. You don't make enough money for it to solve the problems they're trying to solve. So you're good." There's a lot of that going on in the NFL, right? Jadeveon Clowney cut. They really think so-and-so is better than him? Well, maybe not. Maybe cutting so-and-so, which they would have rather have done, wouldn't have saved them enough money to do what they need to do elsewhere on the roster. So part of the reason Jadeveon Clowney's not there is because he opened up enough salary cap to basically pay all of the rookies this year, which is nice. But it does also kind of shuffle things up, so we thought it was a fun time to ask this question. As it stands right now, as the way the roster is constructed, through free agency, through the draft, with some post-draft cuts, who is under the most pressure on the Panthers defense? This was a question. Shout out to Chris Lee, Dennis's co-host on the Panthers Playbook podcast. He brought it up, and we said, that looks nice. We'll have what they're having. I think this is a two-part answer, or two names. Who was under the most pressure? I'm gonna cop out. It's two players, but one position. It's Jaycee Horn and Michael Jackson for two very different reasons. Jaycee Horn, I have my adapted, just slightly Spider-Man phrase, right? With great money comes great responsibility. To whom much is given, much is expected. Jaycee Horn, for about a week this offseason, was the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. He signed what at the time of his signing was the biggest contract for per year for a NFL defensive back in the history of the world. About a week later, Derek Stingley Jr. broke it. But, hey, you didn't know that was going to happen. So, with all of that, you now have to perform not just as a good defensive back, as one of the best defensive backs to ever live. As one of, for sure, the best defensive backs in the NFL right now. So, Jaycee Horn, pressure. And there should be. With all that money comes a lot of responsibility. There should be. Now, you may say, well, wait a second. Jaycee Horn has all this money. Michael Jackson signed for a fraction of a fraction of what Jaycee Horn is making. Why is he also on this list? Well, because it's not only money that front offices talk with. Front offices speak with their pocketbooks for sure. If they give you a lot of money, they expect you to play well. They also speak with their roster spots. And they also speak with their draft picks. And they also speak with their free agency money. They bet on Jackson in a way that is different than giving him a massive contract. They bet on Michael Jackson as a cornerback by not giving themselves options if he doesn't work out. They didn't draft a corner that they would expect to play early. They didn't go out and sign a free agent corner for a bunch of money. They don't have much of a safety net if Jackson struggles, which is a bet on Jackson and also a lot of pressure on Jackson. Right? There's comfort in a front office if you have a top the depth chart, someone who you like and you think they're going to be good, but then you have somebody like high floor, maybe low ceiling behind them because you're like, we can always turn to them. We can always go to them. Or even if you have like a Michael Jackson, the corner for the Panthers at the top of the depth chart, if you have like a 3rd-round pick, rookie behind him, or a 2nd-round pick, rookie behind him, you go, all right, yeah, this guy, Jackson, he's solid. We like him. But if we need more of a difference maker, we can always go to this young guy whose ceiling is the roof. Like, there isn't any of that for Michael Jackson. Everybody that I would put like underneath Michael Jackson on the depth chart at corner is probably higher on the depth chart at nickel, or like also has to fill in on the depth chart at safety. There's not a lot of options. What is his name? Bartholomew isn't really exciting.
Shamar Bartholomew.
Not exciting me as another option if Jackson doesn't work out.
All 17 snaps he played on defense last year?
Exactly. So Jaycee Horn, he is under the most pressure if you look at, the suffocating pressure of just the like dollars and coins that are going to feel like are on his shoulders. But Jackson is under pressure in the way that you feel when you're doing like a high wire act with no net. If you fall, there's nothing there to save you. Dennis, you agreeing or disagreeing with what I'm selling here?
I do agree to an extent, but I also think there's a lot of pressure on guys like Derrick Brown as well coming back, because what's the biggest issue for that team? It's getting pressure.
So you're saying Derrick Brown, the pass rusher?
Here's the thing.
Which has never been his cup of tea.
Well, you talk about highest paid guys.
Yeah, he's getting paid.
He's also one of the highest paid defensive linemen in the entire NFL as well. He just missed all of last season. I mean, obviously outside of the first game of the year with that knee injury. Mm-hmm. He has to come back and also play up to the level of contract, just like you're talking about with Jaycee Horn.
Yeah, the only reason he wasn't on my list is because of the injury. And traditionally, I don't want to say we give him a season, but traditionally after major injuries, we as an NFL fan base, right, as a fandom, we understand there's 6 or 7 games you can knock off the rust. So he, we get to the excuse or reason. He might have a reason for a slow season because he is coming back off that injury. It is insane, though. One of the craziest things about Derrick Brown, he had 103 tackles in 2023. I believe that's the most ever for an interior defensive lineman. 103 tackles. 57 solo, which is insane. He had 2 sacks. 2. If you can grab 103 tackles, that means you're quick, you can move, right? Because it's not like you even have 103 chances at a tackle just standing where you are and holding your arms out. Like he's got to use quickness and burst to go track down ball carriers. To only end up with 2 sacks, that is a number that I think has to go up. His career high is 3. That's he's been in the league now. We'll count it as 4 years, not count last year at all because it was the one game and he doesn't even know when he got hurt in that game, but he finished it. He's got 4 years, 8 sacks. Either you acknowledge he's one of the greatest run stuffers in the game and just be okay with that and say somebody else is going to have to get the pass rushing done because he's too busy taking care of the run game, or you do have to look at the young, highly paid defensive tackle entering his year 27 season, which is kind of a prime year for that position, and say, hey, give me 6 sacks, right? Let's give me 3/4 of your career total this year, and we'll be all right. Other names that were in the running, I do think I think both rookie edges just got a lot of pressure dumped on him by Jadeveon Clowney. I think Merrick, the safety, because
yeah, very much so.
Especially if they play him at free, I think he's proven as a strong safety coming down into the box, making tackles, being physical. They don't really have a true free safety, that center fielder style safety on the roster right now. If they play him at free and expect him to play do that, there's pressure on him to show that he can, right? Because it's something that he's not super known for.